Hello, hello, hello. This is Matt Elam from Real Dad Bod. Today we're talking about cholesterol. Cholesterol is made in the body and it can be consumed via the diet, especially foods like whole eggs, red meat, pork, etc. Now, just off the bat, I want to get your opinion on this. Cholesterol in the diet, good or bad for you? There is no right answer, not right now. So it all stems back to the Framingham study of 1948. It was an observational study, and if you know anything about research, observational studies are middle-of-the-road evidence. You're the highest for meta-analysis and systematic reviews and randomized controlled trials, but it's mid-level evidence. And the Framingham study was looking at the correlation or association between cholesterol, total cholesterol, and atherosclerosis, also known as cardiac heart disease. And what they found, and they reported in the 60s, it started in 1948, but they reported in the 60s that there was in fact a correlation or association between high levels of cholesterol and heart disease. The problem with this is that that only was true up to the age of 49 years old. After that, it should, where you would expect, because heart disease is basically a senior citizen disease, after that age of 49, there was no real correlation between high levels of cholesterol and subsequent cardiac disease, which kind of threw off their theory. You don't know about that. A lot of people don't know that. And then if we're talking about association and not causation, because as we know in research, association is not the same thing as causation. Causation is this X creates Y or Y creates Z. Association is, well, we think that high cholesterol, when we looked at it, we also found that people had more heart attacks or they had more heart disease. Could it be that those individuals in the 40s, 50s, and 60s were male? Number one, they had the brunt of the stress. They were working, they had those blue collar jobs, 60-hour work weeks, high levels of stress. High levels of stress has been shown to increase total cholesterol by 40%. So could it be that cholesterol came to help and was villainized in turn? And if cholesterol was the link between high cholesterol levels and heart disease, then it would have been the same throughout every single age group, but it wasn't. Okay, so I think this is where we part ways with the Framingham study, even though in medical school, that's what they're taught, the diet, heart, low density lipoprotein cholesterol theory. And in physiotherapy school, in my doctorate, we took electives in nutrition. That's the same thing. Dietitian, same thing. I think here is where knowledge is power. So let's start thinking for ourselves. Let's look at it from an anatomy and physiological point of view. You have cholesterol. Cholesterol chemically looks like an alcohol, but it really expresses itself as a fat. It can't move through water. It can't move through blood because blood is a component of water. So it needs a transport unit. And now it's going to use lipoproteins. So cholesterol inserts itself into these lipoproteins, and you have two major types. Low density lipoprotein cholesterol. The only difference is in the mechanism of origin and endpoint. High density lipoprotein cholesterol. I'm going to need some coffee for this because we're going to get jet setting here. HDLs, which are considered good cholesterol, they move from the peripheral tissues and the vasculature into the liver, where the liver will produce more cholesterol or cease and desist altogether. LDL will move in the opposite direction. It moves from the liver into the peripheral tissue and into the cell membranes. And I think this is where the diet heart theorists get their whole viewpoint that LDLs are bad because they move from the liver to the vasculature. Maybe they get stuck in the endothelium inside the arteries, and that's what creates the inflammatory cytokines, ApoB cells, what have you. So that's just poor science. In fact, when they looked at a meta-analysis and systematic review, they found that men, middle-aged men over the age of 65 that had higher total cholesterol levels had a higher lifespan than those that had lower. Now there's things like statins and other things that will mess with the variability of any study. But the fact that these individuals had a higher level of cholesterol and lived longer lives, it goes to the theory of cholesterol is healthy. It makes the cells waterproof. It builds the immunity indirectly by stopping these infections, these microtoxins and things from getting through. Both sides of the coin are going the opposite way. Some are saying cholesterol is the villain. Some saying cholesterol is the hero. Both cannot be right. So here at Real Dad Bod, I want you to have the evidence in front of you, and n equals 1. You make the decision. You have the power, but you got to have the knowledge first to make that decision. We're talking about areas of power here. We're talking about number 1 in the Real Dad Bod system. We're talking about energy. 2, we're talking about mobility capability. 3, we're talking about cognitive function. 4 is men's health, men's sexual performance, libido. And 5 is physique development. If you like my stuff, if you like my work, you want to know more about it, you want to get on board the Real Dad Bod, please go to my Substack account. Link is below. You guys have a good one. I'm going to drink more coffee. Cheers.